Oh god, I knew I was gonna have to make this video, and honestly, it's something I feel like that needs to be brought up a little bit more consistently, particularly because I feel like there's a lot of things that could be gained here that legitimately can't be if things continue to be the way. So I want to openly say I'm probably gonna do this at least once every few months, or at least when it comes up really heavily again. The copyright situation with Nintendo and their game footage. Now, for the most part, I haven't heard of any issues in regards to actual channel deletion. It really just hurts monetization, which unfortunately, if you live in the US or in any other country, YouTubing is what people have now kind of turned to as an alternative form of money. You know, you get on here and you make YouTube videos about whatever. And there's a lot of gaming channels, a lot of even channels that aren't even gaming, channels that are just like commentary channels. You know what they usually do? In the background, they use game footage. And as everyone's known for a while now, Nintendo has gone through this really ridiculous saga of copyright. I think originally it started out with them just blocking videos. Then they lessened up, and now all they do is just take the monetization, and they had the creators program that no one really wanted to join. And then they started, it was weird. They started understanding the importance of YouTube and social media, and so they started pushing things like Nintendo Minute and Directs, and they started being more active on Twitter and Facebook. And then like now we're in 2017 where they're more active on social media, and they even have their own group of ambassadors, like Nintendo ambassadors, where they'll, especially with this whole Switch saga, where a lot of them got Switches and Zelda and 1-2 Switch and Bomberman and all that other stuff. And we got this huge media push, and so far it seems like the Switch is doing well in sales. And then today I decided to look at Angry Joe's. It's actually from yesterday. It's from March 8th. Angry Joe's video on him wanting to do a Zelda review. Now listen, I've done a response to Zelda's review, and I understand aspects. And I think in that video I mentioned how this was in beta and we need to do a wait and see. And obviously I don't think it's in beta anymore. It's just in full effect now. And I'll be perfectly honest. Now it just makes me sad and angry to look at. Look, as someone who likes, and as people know, I do a lot of Nintendo focused content. You know, I don't. But if you also know that I don't do a lot of game footage from Nintendo at all. Even if I'm playing on a Nintendo console, it's usually a third-party game like Shantae, Way Forward, Sim Kagra. Now, although that isn't on I wouldn't stream the 3DS version. I stream like the PC or the Vita or the PS4 version, because Sim Kagra once again is not a Nintendo IP, so I could get away with streaming it and not have to deal with any issues. A lot of people, even when it comes to my live reactions for some of the directs and some of the cool things that happen, I always split them up into chunks. I only do like a 2-minute reaction for maybe the Smash Brothers DLC, or when the Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow announcement was, I split those videos up, and some of you would say, oh, it's more money. But part of the reason was just because Nintendo claims it in longer videos. If they're short, 1-minute, 2-minute videos, I can avoid copyright entirely. And this isn't from, and I know Angry Joe has kind of a reputation, and I'll be perfectly honest, I enjoy Angry Joe to an extent, but he's not like a YouTuber I go out of my way to watch all the time. And even at this point, I can honestly agree, the creators program, the situation that Nintendo has YouTubers in is pretty bad. And this is coming from someone who enjoys their gaming and their content, and does understand the reasoning behind you protecting your IP and protecting your games. But I just don't inherently believe that at all that you're in the right in this situation. I honestly feel like you're hurting yourself, and as a Nintendo fan, Nintendo fans already have it rough on YouTube, let's be fair. Because of the stigma that the games get, because of the stigma of the franchises and Nintendo's weird policies, they already get, Nintendo, let's be fair, as Nintendo gamers, you get a lot of crap just for liking a console. Because the console's different and it's weird and it has things that nobody asked for. And then we jump into the games, but the games are all bright and colorful. All the consoles and pushing graphics. Nintendo fans get a lot of shit from the gaming community, because of just because of things that most Nintendo fans don't really hate about Nintendo, but a lot of gamers do hate about Nintendo. And on top of that, I think this is the same situation happened with the Smash Brothers community. When it feels like the company that you're repping doesn't even hold you down in the smallest of ways, it just hurts and it sucks, and it makes you really not want to support them. It's like the thing with the Smash Brothers community where the Melee fandom were trying to get into Evo, and Nintendo, and granted, I think from what I understood about that was just a misunderstanding. But the problem is that Nintendo in a lot of ways kind of had a lot of moments where they were just kind of like, I've washed my hands of it, and you felt like you were just out there in the pasture. And it's almost the same thing. And we're in a day and age where more and more people are trying to create their own businesses and build their own brands and become their own CEOs. They want to start doing their own stuff, and some people legitimately have no other goal as of right now than to get on YouTube and become a gaming YouTube channel and or streamer, and that's their job. They make YouTube gaming content. And if you want it to be a Nintendo only gamer, a Nintendo only channel, you pretty much are deadlocked into a position where you either can't show footage, you won't do Nintendo footage because you can't make any money off of it, because if you're trying to build a business, you obviously need money to fund that business, or you join a creators program that you don't inherently believe is the right thing to do, but you literally have no other choice. It sucks that the thing that makes people end up joining this creators program and even getting involved with it is their love for the games of Nintendo. That's part of the reason why it's become this situation where people like Nintendo as a developer, but they hate Nintendo as a business or a game console manufacturer. And considering the Switch already was going to get negative news because of it being a Nintendo console, on top of the fact that there are legitimate problems with the system and some of the defective units and people's issues with 1-2 Switch and some of the and the lackluster, there's like that Nintendo, you get a lot of hate. I mean, let's be fair, you get a lot of hate. You consistently get a lot of hate, and the fans who do understand you to some degree and want to support you, you burn by forcing them into a position they don't want to be in. Working with you is one thing, and I can understand for certain videos that maybe they're working with you for, but like this whole thing where you're just slamming anybody who isn't working with you, it's like anybody who isn't with you is against you kind of mentality. Just doesn't help anyone, because I think there are channels out here on YouTube, I believe, and granted I don't know for sure, but I have a sneaking suspicion there's a good amount of YouTube channels that do Nintendo content and just take hits for it, just take L's. They're not part of the program, and they don't do any other content. They just do Nintendo content. It's part of the reason why I think Patreon became so popular, because YouTube as a platform is a great site for sharing videos and whatnot, but it doesn't really cater itself to certain artists. You know, like how animators, because of how long it takes to animate, the way YouTube's algorithm works doesn't benefit people who take a really long time to put out videos, and they only put out a video like once a month, because then it just looks like their channel died, especially with all the sub glitches. But it also became kind of a safe haven for people who want to do YouTube gaming stuff, particularly if you want to do like Nintendo footage. It made more sense to make a Patreon than to do the creators program, because you at least then would just be getting support from your fans. But no one wants to go through all that. If you're a young creator and you feel like you're getting shot down at a young age, just trying to make some little bit of change, and the thing is also you have these particular Nintendo favorite YouTubers, the ones that are like whitelisted on the good side, and they're the ones who get all the free Switches, and that's where we saw that big push near launch. Some of those people have some level of influence, but some of those people don't. A decent chunk of them don't. And you got people like Dashy who play your games pretty consistently, like Mario Maker and Super Mario Kart 8. And he doesn't, and it's the same thing with him. And even Angry Joe, or PewDiePie. You know, it's like, I don't necessarily care for all their videos, and I don't watch them the majority of the time. But you know what a Nintendo fan would love to see when they got on YouTube? Or even people like the BitBlock. you know what people like to see when they get on YouTube as a Nintendo fan? They like to see Nintendo footage getting pushed. And you know the problem is, you don't see that. You will see people talking about Nintendo, and even then there's always like a side negative connotation because of the copyright stuff. Even when they're praising Nintendo, you're always going to get that sly comment because you make things hard. And I agree with the idea that I don't think it's Nintendo as a whole. I think it's specifically Nintendo of Japan. And it's crazy to look at the Switch that looks like a relatively forward thought out console, minus some of the defective units and some other problems. For the most part, it seems like the Nintendo Switch was thought out, and it seemed like the young developers mainly had their hands and minds and hearts on the console and pushed it to where and elevated it to what it is. Because if you've seen some videos, it's well made, it's durable, it has some slight design flaws, but I think overall as a compromise, it's a really solid, reliable system. And I feel like that to me shows the potential of what new Nintendo can do. But I think new Nintendo's still fighting with old Nintendo. I feel like there's a lot of people in Japan, and it may even be some people in America. The point is, there's some upper management that's fighting back against the new generation. And so the new generation, I think, is taking it one step at a time. But if anything, and I think this would help, is that Nintendo still isn't the best at communicating. They'll kind of just let things sit and then just kind of come back out later. And it's like, dude, sometimes you just want to, it's like I said, sometimes a Nintendo fan just wants to hear from their company of choice, or just even or their favorite company, depending on who you are, that it seems like you give a fuck. And obviously at the end of the day, it's a business, it's for the money, but you're also a gaming industry company, a company that consistently and repetitively is dealing with its fans. Think about it, like you were at the Nintendo New York event where you had hundreds of people out there lining up for a Switch. One person, C&D and Triforce, were out there for the full month to record and document. And then for me to think that, and even some of the other guys who might end up starting channels through this whole experience, like I saw, I forget her full thing, but it's like Rachel. It would suck to me for them to get a Switch and then to go home and say, I'm going to live stream Zelda on YouTube, and be like, I think I might want to do this profession. I might just cover Nintendo content. And then them post their footage, and ding, you have copyright material from Nintendo. No, you can't. That's disheartening as fuck. That all you want to do is share your love of gaming, and that's say you specifically like Nintendo games, and you can't even get yourself out of a shitty situation. Maybe your life, maybe you're not in the best financial situation, and the home life isn't great, and maybe this YouTube thing could get you elevated to a point where you could start making money, live on your own, and do this professionally, like for the rest of your life or as much as you want. And you get stopped at the door by the very company that you want to push. You're like, there's not enough Nintendo content on YouTube. I want to focus on Nintendo content. Ding, all your Nintendo videos with footage in them is copyrighted. It sucks. It's nothing worse. It's something they don't have to do. Because as much as I may not be a big fan of PewDiePie and Angry Joe and whatnot, they have influence. That's undeniable. They have influence, and they can push or kill certain products. Not by themselves, but as a group of them can. And it doesn't make any sense to lose on that promotion because the YouTuber's a little different. Because you know what people want to trust? People want to trust those people who went and bought the system and are taking the copyright hits and still pushing Nintendo footage. You wanna know why? Because those people, they might be blacklisted from your little ambassador program, but people are willing to trust those reviews because they know at the end of the day, they're being honest because they're not being bought. The problem is with the whitelisted people, is that the whitelisted people come off as generic and, oh, look at that, they were just bought for some free videos and free views. Nobody wants to do that. Now, I do think there's a sense of entitlement here in some aspects, but as a whole, I just, you want to know what this boils down to? And I hope some Nintendo people from Nintendo of America see this. I just want to see you guys do well. And I feel like this move that you guys have been making is not going to lead to you doing well. It's going to lead to you suffering. And as a fan, I have to watch you fumble over your feet and hit the ground on your face in the concrete. And I don't want to see that. I'd rather just see you do well. You were like, I'm going to add a share button and a capture button, and then you're going to monetize the footage as soon as I upload it. Man, that sucks. You gave me a feature that I could take advantage and use and get creative with, only to make money off of that creativity. There are certain things we don't mind compromising on. Okay, fine. I posted a Zelda picture from the Switch onto Twitter. You're going to put hashtag Nintendo Switch and Zelda in it. I don't care. It's perfectly fine. Or even Sony's whole, you can't share certain aspects of the game. We won't let you. It's not the best thing in the world, but hey, at least you're letting me share the footage and I can still monetize it if I want to. And honestly, you know what I want to say? I want to say this. I think those in Nintendo of America or Nintendo Japan who are fighting for our ability to post content and make money and push the products and you know, lead to a better Nintendo, I fully support those efforts, and I appreciate those who are working every day to get through. Because you know what most people would say is like, oh, I can't wait until the old Japanese men in Nintendo die and they become a better company. I would rather you just learn. There's nothing gained from old people dying old and ignorant. I'd rather you just open your mind and understand the other side of the coin and just have the dialogue conversation. This obviously will go into the censorship issue, which is also something that pisses me off. And that's another argument for another day. But the point is, I don't think the copyright conversation with Nintendo needs to stop. I think like that needs to consistently get pushed. We need to consistently talk about that. I know Nintendo fans don't like seeing Nintendo get bashed because they get bashed a lot. But the way I look at it is that if you get it, it's like a band-aid. You rip it off now, you don't have to deal with it later. I just don't. It's disheartening. You know what made me happy as a fan of Nintendo? When you guys were supporting the Smash community and holding tournaments and even being sponsors on other tournaments and pushing games at EVO. I legitimately appreciate it. I just like, even if I wasn't someone who played Smash competitively or watched competitive Smash all the time, I like seeing that community thrive because you put your hand and you gave them the push forward that they were asking you for since probably like the Melee and Brawl days. That's what I like seeing. Nintendo World Championships, it was the same thing. I like seeing Nintendo fans be happy because their company of choice is pushing them forward to get on greater and higher platforms to enjoy themselves and promote the games that they love that just happen to be your games. I don't know, man. Fucking sucks. I don't know what else to say, man. I just sent out all my support, and I feel like we need to do this. Send out all your support to those in Nintendo of America and Europe and Japan who are fighting for us, and people of Nintendo of Japan and America and Europe who don't agree. At least look at the coin and understand where we're coming from, and just talk to us. Create a dialogue. It doesn't have to even be specifically with me. I just mean in general. Create a dialogue with these YouTubers, man. Something the BitBlock show mentioned to me that I had thought about, I looked at but never really thought about. Nintendo Japan's YouTube channel doesn't even allow comments. Why, man? That's insane. There's no reason. Nintendo of America allows comments on their YouTube videos, although they still go through that effort of fucking disabling their likes and dislikes if it gets too negative. Which is something else that needs to be worked on. But like God, even Nintendo Japan's YouTube channel doesn't even let you fucking... It doesn't even let you comment. That's depressing, dude. That needs to change. There needs to be some type of improvement. It's almost as if they just don't want to put stuff out on YouTube, which I think that's what it is. They don't want to put stuff in. You know, the one comparison I never like to make because I don't like. You know, the one comparison that everyone makes that I don't like, but I understand where they're coming from which is the Apple comparison. That people look at Nintendo like Apple. That you can have fun, but you can only have it their way. I hate making that comparison because I don't fucking like Apple. But in some ways, it's a perfectly valid criticism. And personally, for me, at least when it comes to just the interaction with your fans, that needs to improve. But please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, because obviously I'm not making any money. Anyway, guys, that's all I got. This is the Insane Game Freak. Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, all that other stuff is in the description. Tell me what you think in the comments section. Please share the video. I usually don't ask that, but please share the video with Nintendo. I would like. And I'm probably gonna share Angry Joe's video. I just want that message to get pushed out because I feel like that's what's hurting them a lot. I feel like a lot of their other policies that need to be changed could be worked on in time if they just lighten up on this one. And I hope things get better, dude. The Switch seems to be doing well financially. Now it's just like the issue of whether or not how many defective units and how much that's affecting sales. But I think it's going to be the copyright that's going to cause bigger problems than anything else. So please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. Life's a game, play to win, and I will catch you guys later.